Peace, everybody. What this is. Allow for everybody to come in. But just been feeling these energy surges, and although I've been in a more again, like tapping in with the winter time for what it is, like being a lot more reflective, doing a lot of internal work, you know what I'm saying? More so just, again, like in the wintertime, it's not a happy new year just yet. That comes around in the spring. Right now, it's more so a vibe to, and to each his own, because that's one thing, that's coming up a lot lately. And hence why I'm bringing up, connecting with the trees and the ancestors, is again to just bring forth insight of another way of tapping in with your spirituality or your spirit, in a manner that's self-empowering. So instead of having to, always, again, now a lot of us, we like to check out, all the different, people and quote unquote teachers who speaking on certain, methodology or certain aspects of spirituality. We got our favorite, crystal teacher, our favorite, astrology teacher, or just favorite, you know what I'm saying? Again, quote unquote teacher or person that we like to tap in with. At the same time, realizing, again, to apply methods of being able to tap in and get this, this insight within yourself and through your own modalities, and not having to depend on things externally. Because, I'm seeing where it's just becoming more and more important, always been important. I feel like, you should never wait to the last minute, in order to tap in with certain things. Now is the vibrate, so with being aware of connecting, and tapping in with intuition, just again, like, oh, well, it ain't done got too tough. Like, no, it been turned up. So it's, it's time to tap in right now. And, you know, my inspiration for, again, like doing this video right now, and it isn't like I haven't talked about, tapping in with trees or being out in nature, but for sure, like, what it was a couple nights ago, I was outside in a park in Louisiana, and also bringing up this, I'm bringing up, like the different elements and just the symbols, how our spirit guides, higher self, ancestors, inner self, source energy within, brings forth messages, and especially again through the symbols of what you experience, within your day to day, but definitely in nature. And I'm a plug in a link to my podcast. I got a podcast on Anchor now. It's on Anchor, Apple, and what's the other little platform? Castbox and Google. And I recently just did, I had a little channel come through, speaking to a lot of this. So I'm gonna let that be, I'm not gonna try to put that in this video. But I was outside, and this is another connection, like at night, and think about the nighttime, the nighttime, and again the wintertime, where it is more night. So the wintertime, in essence, is a moment to, tap more in with the divine feminine, in essence. And it's funny how that, that reverse perspective of, like, say for instance, like the Capricorn energy is the cardinal sign that's, found in the wintertime, and the Cancer energy is more so in the summertime. Now, yet the Cancer energy is related to the mother, and Capricorn related to the father. But and it shows how the positive and negative is within everything, or like, again, although masculine, somewhat the same thing, because even though the Capricorn energy represents the father energy, it also represents, a connection with the mother because, Capricorns were born in a moment, and for the sake of being whole about this expression of it, whether you want to say Capricorns from Western astrology, or you want to say Sagittarius from sidereal, however you want to tap into it. But just for the sake of just keeping up with the awareness of it, the Capricorn energy, and again, like at nighttime, that's when we're tapped into the wound energy, again, the mother energy, the subconscious, and seeing that again, the mother or the great mother aspect is connected to the water energy, the water, the subconscious. The daughter or princess, is more so the earth energy, and then you got the father aspect, which is more tapped into the air. And then you got the son, like the son for real, and then the son or the prince, which is like the fire aspect. And you see the message of the storyline within the way these things connect with each other, and also for getting into it, as I'm gonna bring up trees, and again, it all goes back to Taurus fields or worlds, whether we talking about our chakras, whether we talking about the way the galaxies spin, the way you got that little, and that goes back to the golden mean ratio as well, and the balance of expression within that, like I talked about in the Shang-Chi video. And why, the G as a letter contains like that sacred message, of the blending of the masculine 90-degree angle with the circle or the feminine. It could also be seen as like the golden mean ratio. But again, like seeing how these different messages is, within our day to day. And say, for instance, if you get a divine message from birds, like if you got a lot of birds that come around you, that's connected to, the air element. So it's more so the father aspect, and it's connected to, the earth element, and in particular, and it depends on the bird, because again, it may be a swan or a duck or a pelican or something that, that dwells more so closer to the water than on the actual tree, but again, like the message is in every single little detail, from the color of that animal to, what element it connects to. So if I see a bird, I know that's the father aspect of my, spirit guides, ancestors, is that perspective kind of speaking to me, not kind of, but speaking to me. If it's more so connected to the water or earth, you know what I'm saying? Like if I see a worm, or if I see, like a water moccasin, which is a snake that mostly stays close to the water, like I know I'm dealing with, a mother perspective, you know what I'm saying? So, those messages, come in, and recently, when I talked about this in a Zoom meeting recently, but like the squirrel, and again, like everything is just an archetypical message, like we could call these things quote unquote zodiac signs, but it's just literally like an algorithm of the elements being mixed together and going through a certain cycle, you know what I'm saying, through those elements, again, from the Aries that's head first and only know about itself, to going all around to the Pisces, which is more, more of that Christ-like energy, because it done seen the wounds and seen the strengths and the weaknesses of all the different archetypes, Same thing with the message of, through the tarot cards, from the Fool down to what's the last card? The World, if I'm not mistaken. But it's like, again, like, you know, going through those cycles. But yeah, like just right now, strongly tapping in with nature, because also like seeing how there are a lot of, distractions, and again, distractions internal and, first internal, then external, you know, because that urge for you to allow for a distraction to distract you, it comes from your own lack of discipline first and foremost, it and then it shows up as a person. Matter of fact, I like the video I just did talking about like handler, like the handler energy, internal and external. Like from the Truman Show and from the Matrix, and spoiler alert, because I probably will talk a little bit about the Spider-Man movie and the Matrix. And speaking of the Spider-Man movie, they had as they were, because there's also a lot of this, like I'm seeing the theme, again, like the truth has to be in everything, although it still has some propaganda to it. But it definitely was about integration. The Matrix was more so about like divine feminine and divine masculine integration, or the twin flame integration. Also, you know the integration of, quote unquote, man with, or should I say, womb man, the humanity, what I'm saying, with the perspective of, technology. And again, it's like everything is within a balance. I'm not gonna, and it's me personally, to each his own, but just being in the realness of it, I'm not gonna be connected to a VR machine more than I'm going outside and connect with the trees and connecting with nature. But again, it's like finding that balance, because I could still be able to, tap in with, quote unquote, bitcoins or NFTs or cryptocurrency, and still take those moments to connect with nature as well. Because again, like seeing with the connection with trees is also not just a connection with your earth ancestors. It's a connection with, you know, it's a connection with the ancestors on all levels. Because again, like our physical family tree is an extension of our spiritual family tree. And also being aware, like with anything, having discernment, because of course it's certain, you know, family members from a blood perspective that may not be in alignment with, the growth and the changes that we're making. And they had that in the Matrix, when Tiffany, aka Trinity, you know what I'm saying, she was still in the Matrix. And a part of, and this is key too, to remember, like before I even get into that, is breaking out of that savior program. Your twin flame is not gonna save you. The one is not gonna save you. There's no external savior. Nibiru not gonna save you. The Anunnaki not gonna save you. Even again, like the trees and the ancestors is not gonna save us. It's like, again, it's us tapping in from within and doing what we have to do to be in alignment. But again, those things is not gonna just save us. But within the movie, as Trinity was still in the Matrix, and the new software programmer of the Matrix, or creator of the Matrix, because that was also like a, personification of the shift of certain gods, or certain energies, again, like a different archetype kind of taking over the governing of the Matrix, so to speak. But when Trinity was, Neo went to Trinity for that last time, and which every time, like one time he went to her, and as they were starting, like, she was like, I'm having dreams, and this dream felt real. And Neo was a game designer, like, so it had like a, the, again, like the parody of the Matrix within the Matrix, literally, where Neo had fell back to sleep, and he was working as a game designer or the creator of a game that called The Matrix that was based off of, in essence, the first Matrix movies, you know. And it also shows again like with the aspect of reincarnation, and in this incarnation, Mr. Smith, the old Agent Smith was actually his boss at the game company they was working at, and the name of the game company was Deus Machina, or like Deuce Machine, or like Duality Machine in essence, and again at first, it wasn't really, obvious, that's just his boss, and then it started to show like little flashes of, like as he was talking about something, you know, Neo or Mr. Anderson was like picking up on like, like little flashbacks, like damn, it seemed like Agent Smith, you know what I'm saying, kind of. But also what had happened was it was showing the dynamic of Neo was aware, but certain Matrix programmings kept trying to keep him to sleep, and the analyst, what I'm saying, which is the new programmer or creator of the Matrix, he was basically Neo's therapist. So anytime Neo would start to like awaken or whatever, he'd be like, "Oh no, you're being psychotic. You're having a psychotic episode." And again, it's like no coincidence that I brought that up. And that's why I brought it up too, because seeing that in the movie, I'm like, damn, every movie, it's like, uh, psychology or slash like, this energy of trying to make somebody seem like they're crazy, as they're becoming aware of, like what's really going on. But uh, again, like it felt like dreams to him. It's like, oh, Mr. Anderson, or Mr. Smith, that's kind of like a dream. Or Morpheus, that's just a dream. And the Matrix game I just created that out of nowhere. Like, and again, like, and even being prescribed blue pills, the pill that keeps you asleep in the Matrix, his psychiatrist was like, prescribing them blue pills, you know what I'm saying? But again, like coming back to him connecting with Trinity, she was just Tiffany. She had a husband and children, and when he did introduce himself to her, she was like, "Oh, I kind of remember, or like basically she talked about, seeing his game, and like, all right, I saw your game, and the character Trinity on your game, she kind of seems, familiar, you know what I'm saying?" And it's kind of like, going back and forth. And it's also showing that subliminal talk, like how, we speaking straightforward, but spirit kind of within us, kind of like, talking as well, in essence. And Trinity or Tiffany, you know what I'm saying, again, that like as things were starting to get more clarity towards being aware that maybe it's not just a dream, and we really were connected before, you know what I'm saying, in some way, form, or fashion. It was a phone call from her husband like, "Hey, so and so stuck a Lego in their nose," you know. And then getting flash forward to the end of the movie again, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. uh as Neo went to awaken her for that last time, you know what I'm saying? Again, it had to really be her choice in essence. You know, soon as she was starting to kind of like, become a little aware, her husband and her children come in like, "Hey, we was looking all over for you. Where you been?" And this and that, and just like flooding her with all that family stuff. And again, as I'm saying this, because that's another thing too to be aware of, like that doesn't mean like, oh, just automatically, our quote unquote blood family is, harmful to our growth. But again, just using discernment, though, we aware of, again, like if they are awakened to these things or not, But it's our job, in essence, to know, how tapped in we are, and not to feel like, oh, I can't, connect with some, like my mom or somebody of that nature, because They not aware of how much this is a matrix. They may not be aware of, as long as you're aware, because that's another thing too, is, indirectly, it's like saying you're afraid that you gonna fall back to sleep because of them, you know. And so in essence, it kind of almost like creates that, because in essence, that's like a fear, like I fear, even going around them because I might fall back to sleep due to them. Well, then if you're feeling like that and you're fearing that, then you kind of bring that closer to you, or it starts to turn into something that would manifest. You know, but again, like, just bringing in that energy of, like tapping in with the twin flames, and how, again, like we activate each other. And I also realize, like, from the literature of Carl Jung, talking about, the animus and anima, where a man or a woman. So a man has like a subconscious perspective within him that's like, from a feminine perspective, and the woman has like a subconscious perspective within her that's from a father perspective. And in essence, your twin flame, again, is going to be exact. I'm talking about so exact of a reflection that, you know, is is inevitable to deny, And in most cases, it'll probably be, so like whatever zodiac sign we, is our sun sign, it'll probably be the opposite. So if you're, and seeing the connection, if you fix fire, a Leo energy, that opposing energy is fixed air, Aquarius. If you're cardinal fire, Aries, that opposing will be cardinal air, Libra. If you're mutable fire, Sagittarius, that exact opposite will be mutable air, Gemini, and so on. Again, Capricorn, Cancer, Taurus, Scorpio, Virgo, Pisces, you know. And and again, like, bringing in, because it makes sense, if about the 360 degrees of knowledge, or the 360 degrees of different angles and perspectives, aka the quote unquote zodiac wheel. Capricorn down here, Capricorn is only learning about, in essence, things from, of course, you got other things other than just your sun sign, but it's just tapping in to this side of the wheel, you know. So the other side of the wheel, is, far from what it deals with, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, Capricorn is in between the Sag and the Aquarius energy, so the other archetypes are far away, and it's not necessarily always, honing in on what's opposing it, in essence. So again, like a lot of times, our twin flame, be of that, opposite zodiac archetype, and in essence, it be like our animus or anima, like that extreme, again, like if it's a woman, it'd probably be like that, like the representation of a father figure or father energy within her, you know, and in that relationship, like the shadow perspective of how she deals with the masculine, and then within the male, it's the shadow aspect of how he deals with the feminine, you know, and again, like getting to a place where those energies are, properly integrated, you know, again through doing the shadow work, and getting a better understanding. But yeah, definitely, because again, our shadow self, in essence, is created through our relationship, first 7 years of our development, you know. And matter of fact, as I see everybody in here, don't forget to thumbs up, man, and these algorithms, make sure the videos is showing up, again, like, share, subscribe, all that great stuff. Any and all donations greatly appreciated. But because that's another thing too, and expressing all of this, it's like, man, it's time for this to be like, like these types of videos should be the main things that pop up when somebody goes searching on YouTube, and not having to dig under a rock to find insight and information, that's talking about these types of things. But yeah, for the most part, again, like we're tapping in with our ancestor connection, and also seeing with the reincarnation cycle again, like whatever we fell victim to, or whatever whatever type of mistakes we made in past lives, whatever, like right now that we seeming like we have tough energies, it seems like it's tough to deal with. That's speaking to one of the reasons of why you may have reincarnated, in the first place, and having to transmute those heavy energies, you know what I'm saying? Because again, we here to get lighter, not heavier, understanding ourselves, through having, situations like connecting with, our twin flames, things of this nature. But again, connecting with a twin flame and receiving this insight from our ancestors, or being tapped into our inner guidance so strongly, comes from our inner work first and foremost. Like again, I didn't come across no twin flame or none of this until I started doing the work for myself, because again, like, we have to be able to inspire ourselves. We have to be able to tap in with ourselves. And again, hence why I felt the message to, like bring up the trees, because it's, reading books, and again, like, reading books and watching videos is definitely, ain't nothing wrong with that. That's kind of like the masculine confirmation to the intuitive, or feminine, intuition, so to speak, where we, get the insight without necessarily having the physical evidence, again, like, where we just know, like, man, there's something with that situation. I could just feel this energy, and you might not have no physical evidence. And again, like, dealing with the symbols, you'll get certain symbols, whether it's in your dreams or within your dreams after you, quote unquote, sleep, and, for lack of a better word, in this realm, or if you're walking around and viewing things, with your two eyes or your first eye in this realm, again, like, the symbols are constantly coming, you know. And I don't know if I brought this up in another video, but it's like the squirrels, like, any animal connected to, the trees, in essence, is gonna be speaking to, your connection with your ancestors, And again, after, like, being barefoot outside the other night, and also, like, doing breathing techniques, doing the breath of fire, where it's just like quick pace, in and out, 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 only through the nose, kind of charge up the energy field. Uh, doing the alternating nose breathing, because that's another thing that's coming up that's important. And, we talk about, like, like dragons, and breathing that fire, but breathing that oxygen. And again, like, the relationship of the elements speak to, the whole dynamic of a family, Because, say, for instance, what affects fire? Like, fire is connected with the sun. Because one could try to say, oh, no, fire is the father element and air is the sun element. Or air is like the sun, not the actual sun, but like his son or the prince. And the fire is more like the father. Well, let's look at how fire and air interacts with each other, Of air do, again, like, air has two forms of controlling fire. It could, actually boost it, because air with a lot of oxygen could actually, like, combust a fire, and that speaks to us, like, doing our breath work, and combusting that fire within. But, the air could actually cause the flame to, like, like, blow up, or the air could also, like, blow the fire out, like blowing out the candles for your birthday. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like the air. So the air has more of an influence over fire compared to, like, fire could heat up the air, in essence, or the atmosphere that's right directly around it. But for the most part, air has more of an influence on fire than fire has an influence on air. And the same thing with water and earth. like water has more influence on Earth than Earth has influence on water, and even water being the mother perspective, you know, before even again like before the father perspective. We say before for lack of a better word, because even air, you know, for air to even in essence exist, it has to be encased in something, you know. And again, when we say water, water could be seen because matter of fact, like you know, even air is like a version of water, you know, to some extent, you know. But you know, we talk about like quote unquote, you know, outer space. If it is, you know, something, you know, and yes, different planetary energies and different worlds exist. You know, it's just not in the sense of how NASA promoted, but when you look at, you know, again, like just the different elements and the connections to them, you see how the story of the family is within, you know, the way the elements are connected, you know, and understanding again, like right now, bringing in a sense of equilibrium into our internal family, you know, because you know extreme fire and again seeing like the different forms of connection, you know, because when I think about technology, you know, that's like uh you know, that's a strong energy of air and fire, you know, because like making things happen, thoughts and ideas, like click click click, let's get it, you know, like you know, high, in essence somewhat of a high vibration, you know, and not to say that, you know, that the mother or daughter energy is a low vibration. Again, like there's no good or bad, right or wrong. You know, it just moves at you know a quote unquote slower pace in essence. You know, and again, like that's the part when we talk about a tree. The tree is you know in the ground, and in some cases, depending if you live like cypress trees in the swamp, where it's like in the water and the earth. You know what I'm saying? So cypress trees, and no coincidence that cypress trees is considered a strong wood to use for building houses. You know, uh, and it grows in the water. You know, so it got like that mother and daughter combination. But uh, again, just to be tapping in for ourselves and getting like you know a lot of you know insights and stuff right now. You know, like again, it's all right for us. We we tapping into the whole you know balance of the situation, and to each his own. Some beings are tapping in on levels where you know they not gonna get no praise for it, or they not you know like I would bring up how you know they got uh, somebody somewhere in the mountains, you know, meditating and tapping in astrally. You know what I'm saying? Like you know making things happen from a place where they ain't gonna get no praise or nothing from nobody or you know none of that, you know, and that's their alignment for this lifetime, you know, because some would say, oh no, you supposed to be indulging with everybody and this and that. Says who? You know, like that person got a different alignment for this lifetime, you know what I'm saying? Like again, that's the in which when you look at it though, that person who is like ducked off doing the work on some like ain't nobody seeing it or gonna be able to praise that person, you know, personally in that essence. You know, the work that they are doing is helping this energy field and helping others to be able to, you know, do whatever they doing in this realm as well. You know what I'm saying? So uh again, it's tapping in with understanding what our own purpose is, you know, and again, even with purpose, and that came up too in the Matrix, like with the free will and the choice, or there is no choice. But again, like they were bringing it up in a confusing manner, you know, like to create some form of like confusion in the sense of like, oh, you have no choice, but from a perspective of like you know, almost like to promote the energy of like you should just say fuck it, you know, like oh I have no choice, so just you know fuck it type of energy, and it's like no, you know, because whether it's destiny or not, you know, again, if it if things were that destined, you wouldn't have to do shit at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, so all of this, oh, breathing techniques, meditation, shadow work, inner work, eating healthy. Like, if it was that destined, all of us would just be sitting on our ass, not, like, not talking about this, not studying, not doing, again, shadow work, inner work, intuitive work. It's like, oh, just fuck it, you know. And yes, there may, again, like, it's like a blended situation. Yes, there is like a energy of what you, chose to tap into in this lifetime, but like, hence why, like, say for instance, you have a choice of, like, saying fuck your growth, I want to go back to sleep, you know, like, that you do have that choice, you know. Now again, somebody might say, oh, it was already written in the start. For whatever it's worth, again, you're still gonna be actively having the illusion of choice, you know what I'm saying, if you want to call it an illusion, while being in this realm, you know. So, what's up, everybody? Oh, and that's another thing too. In the movie, it was like instead of like agents, being like how they would pop up before, like Agent Smith popping up, out of nowhere. Again, it was like in the basically again as a handler program for Neo in the Matrix, or Mr. Anderson in the Matrix. It was somebody at his work, which is all kind of people, but the main handler for him was the little cat that went to the coffee shop with him, and even that was like it was like a little message within them going to the coffee shop. It was a symbolic little perspective. Matter of fact, stimulate. Because that also was like where he would see Trinity at. And it was also where he would see Trinity at, and that's where towards the end, where they had the last little meetup and little situation towards the end of the movie. That's where he connected, and again, like, I felt like it was like a blended vibe of representations, because like a coffee in essence, you know, like it's almost like a double-edged sword, whereas like it also wakes you up, but more so like the environment of a coffee shop. Like the environment of a coffee shop could have like a plugged into the matrix type of vibe to it, but coffee in essence, represents like a awakening type of energy, or waking up. And all coffee ain't, again, all coffee is not like bad, like, oh, it's coffee, it's automatically bad. Again, everything in moderation, and that's connected with the the Legwa Legba energy, and also I think the Baron Samdi energy, and again, like, connecting with the ancestors through, again, like our connection with the trees. Like, if you're feeling like there's some more insight or something you missing, go sit outside, barefoot by the trees, and tap in. And this is another thing too, where you see where it ain't just no one thing, because just what came to me is like, but what if a person, in which I know this, but a person may ask like, but I ain't got no trees around me. You could still tap in with your ancestors and still tap in with the grid. You know what I'm saying? Again, like, just being close to a tree, has that close connection. And again, though, that's all on your karmic energy, and what's in alignment for you in this moment, as far as like, where you're placed at in this world. Like, are you in an area that's more dry and hot, connected to the fire and air energy? Or are you in an area that's a little more watery and earthy, you know what I'm saying? Or got a lot of plants and stuff, you connect a little more to the mother energy, you know. And again, whatever works best for you and helps you with that balance of, dealing with your internal energies. But again, like you tapping in wherever you need to, because you may have been being that strongly connected with your waters and earth energy. So, it's best for you to be in an area where it's dry at, you know what I'm saying? To be like in a desert area in this lifetime. Or again, or just for this moment, you know what I'm saying? It might be just a cycle of you being right there, then you move to another place. But again, let your whatever movements and actions you take and be something, again, like coming from your inner guidance and not from, what we think we should do. Because that's another thing that's been coming through, and also like dealing with the plant realm and seeing like, again, like how it helps quiet the mind. Because, even as I'm reading this Krishnamurti book on relationships, again, like, being aware to not be, again, like with any energy, not being extreme, with the air and fire or the water and earth. But again, like right now in this realm, we dealing with a situation where the fire and earth, the fire and air has been like overdoing it. Again, like the scale unbalance, so we got to bring in a little water and earth. And that's also what, you know, was in the Matrix too, was like, in this movie, Neo couldn't fly. But then towards the end, all of a sudden, when they jumped off a building, Trinity was the one who could fly this rip, to kind of, like, hey, the divine feminine, you know. And again, that does it. Again, ain't no external savior type of energy from that perspective, but it's again the symbolism of the divine feminine energy is what's gonna really balance things out and bring forth that equanimity that's necessary right now. You know, like tapping in. And again, like my acid trip I had, you know, with dealing with the water, the tree energy was the same thing. Like like where I was picking up on, because that's what I do too. Like I just get into like a trance of like movement, and a trance of like, like where I'm like, and again like the earth fighting style is kind of like you it's gonna be like wide. You're gonna be like low to the ground. It's almost like a wrestling slash using a lot of elbows or like like that kind of energy. Like to have strong, solid movements. In essence. But I was feeling that flow and just walking around the tree. And again, like doing the breathing techniques and seeing again, that cycle, of like, like here it is where we just feeding each other right here, you know what I'm saying? Constantly, I'm letting out the food for the tree and the and the tree letting out the food for me, aka oxygen, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, even being tapped into feeling and sensing and seeing that cycle, and connection going on. But yeah, and again, definitely at night too. I feel like it was a difference because it was at night, you know. And again, like, and just bringing up the awareness of, again, like not letting, not getting too overly stimulated by stuff in our external realm, especially like with all the stuff like on computers and social media, you know. Because even for myself, like right now, I don't care if a person feels some kind of way about if I don't answer them right back or this or that, you know what I'm saying? Like I stick and move with my little, presence on social media, you know. It's like it just feel like it's like a like a overload, like oh this, like You like fuck that. And again, that doesn't mean that I'm, cause it's a balanced situation. I'm still going post my jewelry. I still do these videos. I still connect, but again, it's like awareness to key in on exactly what it is that I'm going to when I tap in. Like that thumb action is getting less and less exercise. But again, it's with any of the aspects of our experience, it's like, it's neither good or bad, right or wrong, but just understanding, like, yeah, it's about the internal tap in more than the external. Doesn't mean that we don't, you know, communicate or interact with, our external realm in any fashion, but again, it's just making sure that it's everything again like starts within, you know. I wouldn't be able to change or help nobody without taking care of myself, and that's all unique to your experience. Don't compare what so and so got, or oh, so and so just bought 100 NFTs, or so and so. You know what I'm saying? They making this happen, or they that's so and so. You know, you, and again, like, yes, a part, all the whole, all a part of the whole, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, the liver, the heart, the lungs, the brain, the calf muscle is all in the same body. It's all a part of the whole, but each one does have a particular, unique expression of source energy, or unique expression of, the bodysuit that it has to maintain, while staying interconnected with the whole. You know what I'm saying? So, because again, like, seeing that be troublesome, like, hence why I feel like, the strongest promotion is just self empowerment, like, to help people to learn how to be more, self sufficient spiritually, that uh, independent, spiritually independent. And again, as I say, spiritually independent, that's not to, be extreme on, the loner vibe and stuff either. Again, like, everything in a balance. Is a certain moment for us to be to ourselves a lot. And we know when that needs to shift, not nobody else. And you'll know if it's again, if that moment comes up, is if, like, say for instance, I've been internally getting the vibe of, like, all right, you've been being to yourself a little too much. You've been being to yourself a little too much, and I've been ignoring it, you know. And then somebody comes up and say, oh, you want to catch a vibe, just chill, run it, you know. It's like, all right, again, like, understanding that, source, yes, is inner work and it exists within, but also in our external realm too. But, knowing the difference of, again, like, something just having like being an external suggestion, and something being a reflection of what source has already been trying to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like, where you've been, like, message, internal message. All right, you're ignoring it, so I'm gonna send it through this person. You know, compared to where a person pop up and, like, you should be a janitor, or you should do this, or you should do that, and you ain't never had no internal insight letting you know to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? And plus, you're not talented at that. You're not naturally gifted at it. You're not naturally passionate about that. It's like, all right, you know, again, internal handler programs, external handler programs. You know what I'm saying? Which, again, like, the internal aspect is just any of our doubts and fears. Whenever we may doubt and fear what it is for us to align with internally, again, it shows up in again, like external handler programs making suggestions of shit that's just distractive, or distracting you from, what's best for your alignment. Is there any advice to gain more? What's up, Mr. Braxton? Any advice to gain more traction to one page on social media? Let your main focus be of service. So instead of trying to popularize whatever it is you're doing to, just for the sake of popularity in essence, just look to be more impactful. Now, of course, again, yes, we in this realm, we got things that we tapping in with. So just like when I'm saying like hit the like button and stuff like that, you know, it's like, yeah, it's a promotion, but it's not like, yeah, hit the like button so I could be famous. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, it's like genuinely allow for this information to get out there, because, you know, I could care less about, to the point where there been moments where I done slowed down things because I felt like I was getting quote unquote too famous, or, in that sense of it. But again, you know, fame comes with the work in essence, like the reason why you know about certain quote unquote, like, for lack of a better word, certain saints or certain people who, helped a lot of people. The reason why we know of Dr. Sebi, or Dr. Sebi is famous, is not because Dr. Sebi was looking to be famous, it's because he was tapped in with his work and he was being so impactful that it just had no choice but to, get out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, I would say from the intention and focus of looking to be, impactful, you know, and being pure of heart with being impactful and looking to help, because again, like the popularity of my page, my YouTube, that grew out of me just like valuing wanting to help others, and again, like having to be aware, to not fall into that extreme Pisces or Virgo energy where it's like trying to help everybody, help everybody more than you helping yourself, you know. But again, it's like, because even that you have to be aware, because that's another thing that's been coming up, is just being aware of all the different little unhealthy egos that could pop up, because again, that's the personification of, you know, Agent Smith no longer being like the regular Agent Smith in the Matrix. It's like his program, evolved. Like the ego, in essence, evolves as Neo, like as Neo and the spirit and the soul energy was evolving. It was evolving. The distractive energy, or the energy that opposes. You know what I'm saying? Just as much as the energy that helps. And matter of fact, because uh, in the little podcast I just did, that I just recorded, I spoke on that just to speak on it, a little bit, of just how, like, as we grow, even spiritual spiritual ideas and ways of doing things could also be used as something that's harmful to us, you know like, and especially like just general spiritual information, especially when it's just one-sided, because I realize, like, the energy of like, oh yeah, just do what you feel in the moment, like just do what feels right, and what feel like, that's partially true, what I'm saying, because what feels right in the moment might be a hit of crack, or, or shooting up some heroin. That'll feel good in the moment, but is that helping the long term? Like, again, like short term, long term. I think I did a video on here or Instagram about that, like, being aware of the short term and long term. Yep, because it was also in connection with like the sacral chakra and like, instant pleasures, like, is being aware of, again, like how certain spiritual rhetoric could also, be harmful, or certain spiritual practices. Like, yes, meditation is great, but if I'm using meditation to fight against feeling the emotion, and that's what I talked about in the thing, but I'm gonna let that be for, because it was a little channel and I smoothly walked through it. But since I'm here just briefing on it, like, again, like having to become aware of having to face certain energies. And when you say face, it's not like you gotta sit in it, like, like, say for instance, dealing with anger or a violent nature within, to understand it, instead of trying to hurry up and fix it. Because also understanding my violent nature or my anger doesn't mean that I'm gonna go be violent and be angry. It just means like, hey, instead of just trying to do shit to like cover it up or run away from it, actually get to the root cause of it and see the value of why it exists. Or just, really understand it, and instead of like trying to cover it up. Because again, like, say for instance, I could be using my tuning forks, like, oh, that's tuning forks, that, like, again, everything has a positive and negative, because, oh, it's tuning forks, that's spiritual, that's the Om sound, so it's just automatically, you know good across the board. And it's like, but what if you always run into those tuning forks whenever you feel a certain energy, in your shot? Because again, like, dealing with emotional intelligence and being aware of our feelings and what they're telling us, you know, again, I could say, oh yeah, I'm being emotionally intelligent, I'm working on my emotions. But then the moment a certain feeling that feels painful comes up, or, let's just say feels painful, I hurry up and run to the tuning forks to try to clear it out. Like, hurry up and get that out the way, you know. And again, although I may verbally say that, oh yeah, I'm sitting doing my inner work, and again, that's what's fire is that the more you become aware, the more you become aware. So it's tough for these little things to hide in these little places. But in that moment, I'm using the tuning fork as, in a harmful way. I'm using it to try to rush through, a certain situation instead of trying to understand and process what this pain really is and where it's coming from, which would really, really transmute it and really, really allow for it to not keep coming back up. You know, I just hurry up and like, oh, let me grab the tuning fork. Oh, and again, the actions speak louder than words. So again, like I feel anger or I want to feel coming up, I go to meditate, and the meditation is helpful, but in this moment, it could be used to again, like, as a gesture that this energy isn't valid, like this pain isn't valid, or this, and let me hurry up and try to clear it out with these tuning forks, and again, that, as I say, understanding that doesn't mean we make that space our address. Because I realize again, like cleaning dishes, or like, healing a wound, like a broke leg, like, like I gotta look at the broke leg in order to heal it. I can't be like, oh, that's a broke leg, I ain't gonna look at it. Not realizing that the moment I look at that broke leg and actually heal it, you know, it's like, oh shit, this shit actually healed faster than, you know what I'm saying? Like, I actually healed it, you know what I'm saying? Compared to like, oh no, I ain't looking at that broke leg. I ain't looking at it. Matter of fact, my leg ain't broke. My leg is perfectly fine. And then, it gets to a point where the leg, where you're limping, and the leg all rotten. But, but yeah, again, like, definitely not allowing for spiritual practice. Again, let me read a book right now. And again, sometimes because being creatures of habit, habit, one, just once you become aware of it and become aware of it and observe it without judgment, the more you occupy that space against knowledge to vibrate, the more I'm able to observe without judgment and see and acknowledge, like, all right, don't lie to myself. I am trying to run away from this by reading this book. Although this book is by uh, Krishnamurti, Bobby Hemmett or Phil Valentine or whoever, you know what I'm saying? Just naming, it's like it still may be being used as a form of, trying to run away from something that, needs to be worked on. What's up, everybody? Matter of fact, what's up, everybody in the room? If I ain't give you a personal message, Mr. Braxton, what's up? Or Sonya Tora, Dancer, the Sugar Plum Fairy, what's up? Miss Amber, what's up? Divinely Sarah, what's up? Samaj B, Liquid Lioness, oh that's a dope name, Liquid Lioness. Riley Rage on the track. Of course, we got the Stray Panther in here. West Combs, American Indian, Met Shemi, Meet Chemi. But what's up? What's up? But yeah, yeah. Where everybody from? Put y'all from too, man. Get connections. Sometimes I do long video. It's like happen to, and when that engine start to really get amped up, it's all kind of stuff to work with right now. One that just came to me is like working with moss agate. Working with moss agate, matter of fact, as we're in the wintertime, because moss agate helps deal with like renewal and rebirth, because again, like we're in the symbolic period to, you know, deal with the inner reflection, you know, go within our shadows, because again, like in thinking of moss agate connecting with like plants, seeds in essence grow due to the, at first due to it being in darkness, and how it deals with that darkness. So moss agate, again on the renewal and rebirth energy. And I know most places don't always have lodestones. I got lucky to get this baby. I ain't never, matter of fact, that's my first and only. Until I see a lodestone bigger, I've been rocking with this. I don't plan on gifting that one off anytime soon, but been working with the magnetic hematites and the oh wait, nah, I don't want to do the lodestones and the magnetic hematites, because the magnetism is real great for healing and cleansing our energy field. And what a talk about our electromagnetic field, the Taurus field, again like a tree. Again, it's also like just symbols. I mean, of course, it again has energetic connection, but a tree just represents the symbology of so much, from it being in the ground and it having to thrive because of the dirt it's in, you know, and also taking others' waste, whether it's our waste from our carbon dioxide, or even physical waste, from shit, and turning it into lemonade. But more so just again like it being a food, but again tapping in with the magnets or just any magnetic energies. Also with tapping in with trees or a certain area. Again like if you got a crystal, whether it already broke into a piece or is a crystal that kind of can, like, and I would say, so say for instance, it's easy for this to happen, some selenite, selenite is pretty easy for it to like flake off, in essence. A matter of fact, or like lepidolite, like a piece of it could flake off of it in essence with ease, and like taking a piece of the crystal and burying it or putting it by, a certain like area, but especially a tree, so you could connect with that energy. So whenever you're working with that crystal, that could be like your ancestor crystal, in essence, or your little ancestor radio dial in. But you got that perspective as well. But basically, yeah, being in Louisiana, matter of fact, because literally, after my meditation, again, like seeing where, because that's also, again, what the Matrix spoke to, too, again, it ain't no extreme on, oh, all computers and things is against us, like, no, like everything is about how we connect with it, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause again, I could take a tree limb and bust you in your mouth with it. I could take a crystal and throw it at you in your face. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I could take a tree or a magic wand. I take a piece of Hollywood and take a crystal and try to do a spell to harm. You know what I'm saying? We're not out here doing that, but I'm saying, you know, in that perspective of everything has a positive and negative. Again, like I could drink my water or it could drown me. I could get some sunlight or shit could burn everything up. You know what I'm saying? It's like everything in moderation. Again, like even with the, dealing with computers, I could use it to spread messages of, helping people to understand themselves spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally. Or I could use it to just scroll up and down and just consume everything that's on my timeline. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all on, the balance and awareness of the whole situation. And again, like remembering the symbols through animals, cause that's just been my thing. I ain't gonna lie, I've been vibing with the animal scene and just like being aware of the messages. Cause also that's one of the best ways for symbols and stuff to come to those of us who may not wanna, like a lot of times, and that's all right with that. Like some of us may not be well with receiving verbal messages from people in essence. You know, because we are aware that, and that is the thing too. And I had to realize that having to trust and discern, because trusting like, all right, I'm attracting beings, that are coming to help, and not harm. But again, we might have been through certain things where we recalibrating our trust energies. You know what I'm saying? Because even matter of fact, and that was with the Matrix, where the handler program situation instead of Agent Smith's. Because it's like Agent Smith just popping up out of nowhere. That's obvious as fuck. But if Agent Smith is, or that energy is saturated through the population, like he said, like I just saturated that program throughout the population, so therefore you won't. So it makes it hard to trust or know who is who. Like you really got to be discerning. So that came up. But again, like doing that inner work, trusting self, amplifying the voice of the intuition, or should I say just the that connection with inner guidance, you know opening up that heart chakra, not closing it down due to past situations. Because again, like and it may be tough. Some wounds we could put a band-aid on. Some wounds we might need a little surgery. But definitely again, like just doing forgiveness exercises. Like definitely, if you can't, uh, again, well, first it starts with you. Forgiving yourself, but with forgiving that person. In most cases, especially our parents. Because again, our, like, say for instance, we had situations with people, places, and things later on in life where, it may have created a situation where you had a grudge, or, it was hard to forgive them. You know, for the most part, it probably in essence stems to the roots of you dealing with your parents and being hard to forgive them for something they taught you or did, or things of this nature. But again, like, remembering as a soul on a human experience, a source on a human experience, we chose for certain things to happen in our household, or lack thereof. You might have been a baby that got a being that chose a life where your mom left you in a dumpster. You know what I'm saying? That's something, again, like that. And let's just say, even, let's just, nah, I ain't even gonna go there because that ain't what it is. Like, again, we choosing these situations, but, you know, again, or should I just say, if you wanted to blame, like, how does blaming your mom, help the situation, or help your energy, or help hers, hurt people, And now I'm realizing again, like, I'm grateful that I hit the ground running in that form of spirituality where it seemed, again, like, it seemed kind of like overly nice and new agey, but you know, there's a certain level of, unconditional love that's necessary, you know what I'm saying? And that that energy work that may seem like it's like, oh, just being peachy and nice, but it's really like necessary, to, again, like, to forgive, you know, to love on ourselves, like, do mirror work, give yourself a hug in the mirror. Like, have you ever hugged yourself? Like, do it. If you find it, if it feels like it seems silly to you, that's probably energy that know that when you start to hug yourself, shit gonna shift for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, hug yourself and, like, bro, I love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever, And let me see. I think I did have it on the end of the video. But I did a video not too long ago about, like, certain things to, like, help raise your vibration. You know, Again, focusing on the things that's going well, learning how to surrender without settling. That's something too to, work on, is like, understanding how to, be present and surrender to the now moment, and understanding that surrendering to the now moment is not necessarily settling, you know, in the essence of, if it's some situation that is not the end all be all, or it's not the best. But the best way to express it too is like, being in jail. And shout out to, when Neo first awakened, and he went back to the new city. Instead of it being called Zion, it was called Io, which is a lot of connections again, like with Jupiter energies, and little wisdom and expansion spells on all kind of levels. But anyway, like, he ended up getting locked up for a minute because Jada Pickett, I forgot what's the name of her character, but she was the head of the city, again, not Zion, but IO now. And uh, she was like, I'm going to lock you up because you might, jeopardize the whole city trying to go find Trinity, you know what I'm saying, on that level. But bringing it back to, the place of, like, surrendering to the now moment, because, yeah, if you were, you know, in a place where, like, oh, I'm here, like, it ain't nothing I could change, about where I'm at right now, even though I want to change it. It's like, well, you have to surrender first, to what is in this moment, And again, and understand that surrender doesn't necessarily mean to settle. Like, oh, all right, I'm gonna just settle for being here. Like, no, you don't have to settle for it, but, again, like, surrender to the fact that this is where you, just right now in this now moment, you know, because again, things shifted and changed for me dramatically as I, was very present with where I was at. So most definitely. Third Eye Boogie, Pittsburgh, got Michigan, Philly in the house. What's up, Mr. West? Got Amber from that Texas. Oh, I appreciate. I'm just seeing that whoever sent the donation, that is greatly appreciated. Terrence Jones, Chi Town. Oh, so you got the Moss Agate popping. We got a fan called. Matter of fact, that's another thing too. Like shout out to my Smoky Quartz piece. But like the movie Dark Crystal, you know what I'm saying? Like again, our inner healing and inner shadow work and inner child work is, is although and it's funny because but that's more so the ego that don't want to hear that. The ego doesn't want to hear that my inner work is gonna help somebody who KKK. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say, it's like the ego not want to hear that those people are gonna, but again, man, hurt people. Cause again, having that understanding doesn't mean you're living by those standards. You know what I'm saying? you know, not living by those standards of living as those beings. It's just understanding that again, like what it was called, a skeksis on the dark crystals. On the dark crystal. You know, I forgot the other little beings, but the little beings that wasn't all tore down from heavy karma and stuff like that. They tapped in and did whatever, and it brought brought back a balance to things. Freeze up now. Oh, yeah. Man, I be on some vibes of putting crystals with and in everything. That's another thing too. A lot of us is gonna be, tapping in a lot more with the herbs. Like again, like a lot of farms are just tapping in with nature in general, but definitely with the herbs. Uh, since I'm right here running it. Which I already know one of them because I'm always bringing it up. Y'all already know what time it is, man. I stay strapped with the Genko because that's also a part of the situation. If Neo was taking Genko Biloba, he would have knew that his dreams wasn't really dreams, that the analyst was trying to bullshit him. You know what I'm saying? So, it helped him stay out of that loop or keep going to sleep if he would be, remembering. That's another thing too, like being lighthearted with ourselves right now. Like yes, we want to be accountable. We are talking about, our soul, our spirit, or just let's say our soul. We're talking about, the infinite aspect of ourselves. We're not trying to uh, have it, entrapped in the experience. That's not the end all be all for our experience. As source. Uh, in general, as the universe, as source energy. We don't want to get trapped into situations that we know that we're now becoming aware that we don't have to be trapped into. You know what I'm saying? But also the ashwagandha, real good. Got the ashwagandha. Also got the mushroom immune powder. Been putting that in everything, man. Matter of fact, my coffee. Yeah, I've been on my little coffee vibe, but I ain't been drinking or smoking, so putting this and this got almost all of them. This guy, let's see. Yeah, I got Matake, Reshi, Lion's Mane. Let me see all of them. No, they got the oyster, lion's mane, turkey tail, got that chaga. If y'all not familiar with chaga, definitely, you might want to check into that. And that's another thing too I'm being aware of as I share, take what resonate, leave what don't. Cause right now more than ever, I don't want to talk in a way where I'm trying to get you to see it my way or try to influence you. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm not trying, if you vibe with it, vibe with it. If not, you got your own little way of, of handling it or doing it. I ain't out here trying to control you. Of course, you know better, but it's just always speaking it out. It's good to, speak that type of stuff out. Also got that Macca. That Macca. Kind of that divine masculine. Not to say that it's not good for women. That Macca definitely real good for the masculine energies. Yeah, I'm jeweled up. Matter of fact, I got my obsidians on. All of my obsidians. I got my Libyan desert obsidian. I got my Moldavite obsidian. No, I'm not calling that meteorites anymore. That's just a me situation. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta like, oh, Universal said it's obsidian, so it's obsidian. You gotta do. You know what I'm saying? But from my little internal energies and looking at it, and I was just always look long and hard at these little tech tights, and I'm like, man, that shit look like obsidian. And then doing a little research. If you haven't watched the videos, you could check out the video I did recently again, like with the meteorites and obsidian. But yeah, I got this obsidian point. This piece here got all the little premier grounding crystals. It got black obsidian, black kyanite, black tourmaline, and black onyx. Matter of fact, I done gave myself a birthday gift. If anybody who follow me on my Instagram, you now know that this moss agate piece is no longer available. If you looking to get a piece, I still got a piece of moss agate left, but this piece is no longer available. Happy birthday to me. Happy solar return to the Matrix. Matrix resurrected. Also rocking with the turquoise. I've been getting a lot of little vibes to rock with the turquoise, and again, in most cases, any copper based crystals. I got I don't know if I ever showed y'all my joint. This is my first time getting a joint. The joint is like quartz and could say like a chrysocolla, turquoise little mix in there. Then got my big piece of chrysocolla. Tapping in with that. And also, yeah, that's another thing too. And no coincidence that I got a ton of because I'm giving them out with all the orders right now. No matter how much you get, you could get something. No matter how much, but the petrified wood. It's petrified wood again. A strong connection with the ancestors. Like that whole connection, like wood also in essence. All right, because it ended up stopping. It's the karmic cycle of things, and also that connection with the emotions. The moon, Saturn matrix, so to speak. But connecting with the petrified wood, it's like connecting with that Saturn energy. Because again, like understanding our connections to where we chose to be, quote unquote, born at, or where we chose to incarnate in this lifetime at, is connected with, our ancestry in some way, form, or fashion. Again, like uh, how I explained it in this from my own little perspective, like where also like what a Cupid concept in essence was us as a spirit that, where we basically was the spirit that kind of got our parents together in essence. It's like, all right, I want that in order to work out these little energies. I need this earthly body and that earthly body, and all, to connect in order for me to, work out my karmic energies to a very effective degree. Oh, and also though, and that's another great connection, bro. Some deep connections with the trees and nature. But Jasper. But also I got like a Numite. Numite got that deep little connection with nature with the moss agate. But then also I got Shujalite. It's my first piece of Shujalite. It's well worth it though. Shujalite on point. Any advice on removing negative entities? Honestly, it goes back, I think about any energy that it felt like I was dealing with strongly. A lot of times, again, it's like some type of like inner energies, like it, it's something that, we may need to forgive ourselves for, that's causing us to ruminate again, like, because depression is usually ruminating on past situations. Anxiety is ruminating a lot of times on future situations. But like, and you could be more specific if, dance with the sugar plum fairy, a dance of the sugar plum fairy. We talk about negative, entities, on that level. But again, like now, negative energy in general has to exist, in some way, form, or fashion. But it's gonna exist on a level where we could, like handle it in essence. And realizing again, like it's how much you externalize it as well. Like if you feel like the negative energy that you're dealing with has nothing to do with you, and like, oh, it's something out there trying to keep attacking me, then you're actually like creating the situation or perpetuating it. I remember like a old I don't know if it's Sadi Guru. I think that was him, brought up the little story of a man who was manifesting things where he was hungry. He manifested some food, but then like he started to wonder, like, well, I wonder, did did that food come from ghosts? And then some ghosts appear, and then, oh, the ghosts might end up attacking me, and then they really attack them. You know what I'm saying? Like it goes into, understanding that it's something that you're doing to be a vibrational match to those energies. Uh, if you haven't checked it out, check out my recent video I did on psychic vampires. Not the earliest one, that's the most popular one, but the recent one I just did. It's probably like it was done like no later than 3 months ago, and I'm probably going far back on that. Probably was like last month. It could be 3 months, but anyway, again, like having to understand that we attract these situations due to being a vibrational match, and it's due to some type of energies within us. That's not to say that, that again, like there's is internal, external. So yes, things pop up externally, but it's not to, again, it's not to create a situation subconsciously where we feeling like, oh, it's just all a external attack on that level, you know. It's like, you know, like, no, especially if it's bothering you, then again, it's internal too. Because now, say for instance, when you see negative attacks or negative entities, or just say like seems like negative energies or entities trying to attack just from the external, but internally, you know, you be pretty good. You know, like again, like the only time you really feeling like something is kind of off is just when that person pops up. But again, like that person pops up and they don't have any type of control or anything over your energy on that level. You know, again, because again, internal, external, like because you're aware of yourself, you're doing your subconscious work to not externalize these things. So as it pops up, you just know, like, you know, I'm protected. You know, I say what I gotta say to this person and keep it moving. You know, but again, if it seems like it's that like strong on that level, you know, again, it's some type of, you know, inner work. You know, some type of love that needs to be implemented internally. You know, in some way, form, or fashion. Hey, dance to the Sugar Plum Fairy from London. Shout out to the international fam. I got Tampa in here. Mr. West stupid. And we're gonna get back to that. I'm waiting to see what else you had, like dance to the Sugar Plum Fairy. See what you have to say about what I done already expressed. Uh, and Mr. West, like me personally, I'm not a like, you know how some people may have watched it for a movie, like, oh, for the action and at this point, I just like shit that kind of challenge me, you know what I'm saying, to like understand certain perspectives of the Matrix for real, you know what I'm saying, of our realm, you know, of our you know, experience, you know what I'm saying, physically, spiritually, you know, and especially when it taps into like, you know, understanding loops and cycles, or understanding like the multi-dimensional aspects of being, or understanding quote unquote uh time travel and how time works or doesn't, you know, work, however, you know, but like really breaking down, you know, those perspectives and kind of creating like, you know, uh again, just like dope perspectives. So like, cause like I told somebody, you know, you could keep the last 24 minutes of the Matrix, you know. I'm straight on that part. You know, I just kind of like, and other little parts too, but I just, I'm a fan of like the nerdy parts of, you know, like the little cult, little, I don't know. Hot coffee, hot coffee, uh, and non-organic coffee, uh, and again, depends on what you mean by throws off, you know, because again, it's not about extreme alkalinity. We only bringing in a high level of alkalinity, and alkalinity is kind of like represented again, like with when we talk about as the mother energy. You know what I'm saying? Like eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. You know, coming from trees and plants. You know, that's that mother energy, that water earth energy, and that creates a more passive energy, or more, not say passive in a negative way, you know, more receptive energy. Because again, even with the English language, that's another thing. Like that shit could get all confusing. Oh, well, this nigga got negative ions, but negative ions is really positive, you know. But with the alkalinity aspect, Again, like alkalinity is being brought in to balance things, but unless you're looking to be a straight up breatharian right now in this moment, extreme alkalinity is not going to allow for you to digest your food. You know, like you won't be able to produce any stomach acid to eat, for things to digest. But as I say that with anything, cause I could kind of feel like my coffee drinking ego kind of hopped up just now. I was like, hey, don't you talk about coffee. It was a little bit there, but in the essence, for myself, again, it's all in moderation and how you deal with it. Cause again, I have moments of going without something for the longest and then have a cup or two. That's not that's not harming anything, you know. But now if I'm having a cup every day, so I'm constantly pumping myself with caffeine and constantly keeping my body acidic, then yes, that's not the business, you know what I'm saying? Again, I'm going to extremely acidic energy, instead of extreme alkalinity. Because neither one is right or wrong. Is about, hence why we talk about pH balance and not like extreme alkalinity. Because even with Dr. Sebi diet or things of this nature, there's certain fruits and vegetables that are a little more acidic than alkaline, to create that balance. Again, for some of us, you know, it's all about your alignment. Like been on the bee pollen. Yeah, shoot your light. Oh yeah, Mr. Braxton. I mean, it comes with the territory. As we tap in again, like that's what Oralite 23 is patented or trademarked by that brethren who got the book. What's his name? Robert Simmons. And mostly all your crystals, again, is like named after, you know, again, whatever person wanted to name it, the latest European person to come across it, you know, whoever they want to name it after. You got, one of the most unconditionally loving crystals, you could find called Morganite. Is named after J.P. Morgan, person who tried to shut down Nikola Tesla. Look at Morganite barrel, beautiful barrel crystal, and again, and as I'm joking about it, I don't like to go backwards in my growth in the sense of like making it about, oh, yeah, they gonna pay, like, the, if a person, whatever needs to happen in this realm is gonna happen by us continuously doing our work and aligning and doing what we gotta do. You know what I'm saying? So look, ain't nothing against J.P. Morgan was just being himself, and they decided to name it out. Can't knock, can't hate the player. I say don't hate the player, hate the game. If you want to hate something, that's if you want to hate something. Liesley, England, all right. Got a lot of UK people up in here. What's up with what y'all got going out there? They talking about fake sicknesses out where y'all at too. Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy. All right, so I don't again like dealing with that energy, like realizing again you do whatever energy work you have to do as far as like like rocking with your crystals, doing like whatever it is to help raise your vibration, because it's something like, and you'll start to catch like what it is that's bringing you into the vibrational state, of feeling low, and because that's in essence when the quote unquote attack comes in, because again the attack not gonna be there whenever you vibrating in a in a higher frequency. Again, it's like something trying to grab you, you know what I'm saying, but you up here, it can't even reach. It's by going into a certain energy that makes you, reachable in that sense. And with again, cause like right now, I keep it real. Right now, more than ever, I'm seeing the attacks. It's definitely it's up there with the attacks. But I also see that again, like it it comes what's going on within myself, because again, if I because they talk about this and Outwitting the Devil, it's like whenever you have gaps or moments where you don't know what you're doing, like you're not aware of your purpose, let's just say, and aware of what you should be doing, then that allows for fear and doubt to come in, aka which will feel like a fucking strong ass spiritual attack, you know. So it's like, you know, for example, it's like, all right, what subconscious programming, what form of thinking, like what am I doing that's allowing for me to be distracted in a manner where I'm not able to, you know, get in alignment with what it is that I should be doing in essence, you know? Because again, like I done seen it from, ignoring certain messages where the universe let me know this situation it is over, or I need to do something about it, but then not listening. So again, like, oh, it's like I'm under a spiritual attack. But again, like just always keeping a balance of understanding that you have to be a vibrational match to it. And again, as I say that, check out, because I don't want it to be overly redundant, because I feel like that would also help, a lot if you check out that video. But it's like, what are you doing to be a vibrational match to that attack? People who getting quote unquote attacked is being a match to that attack. Law of attraction. Like, what am I doing? Make myself, again, like, yeah, and it's this person coming, and then this person feel like they, you know, but say, for instance, if I was in alignment with my purpose, I would even have the moment to even be around that person, place, or thing, or even, that person wouldn't even get the quote unquote time to even, be a vessel for agent to come through them, if I was on point with what I'm doing, uh, in alignment with what spirit is guiding me to deal with. And again, and it can get tough because it comes a cycle of constantly getting attacked. So just like with being in a merry-go-round, or a cycle, it's like, damn, you kind of get dizzy, and it's hard to see what a, what I'm saying, like being on like a little kid, you get off the merry-go-round, and it's like, oh shit, you know. And so yeah, it gets to that energy. That's where it does get tough. I feel like that's where the toughness is, like trying to key in. It is internally that's making, making ourselves a vibrational match to that energy. And again, like the working with the crystals, the eating certain foods, and things of this nature, is what what is what helps. But again, in a lot of cases, it's some type of, whether it's holding on to a past situation, or holding on to a certain person, place, or thing that no longer serves us, again, that in essence, like for myself, seeing along my growth, like doing things that I will allow myself to get into a state of depression, you know. So it's like, it's like having to pinpoint, and that's where it becomes tough because it takes a lot of, you know, have to be strongly aware, a lot of journaling. And again, I realized the difference in when I like implement my yoga, implementing my breathing techniques, working with certain crystals and paying attention like, damn, everything shifted whenever I a did A, B, or C, you know what I'm saying? So I need to be aware to not deal with A, B, and C, or, again, like you just start to become more aware of how you're becoming a vibrational match to it. And that's another thing too, like trusting, in, like trusting that your spirit team and your inner guidance system, is gonna always be there for you. Trusting in the resilience, and being resilient, being resilient in your energy and never giving up, because that's a reflection of you not giving into it. In essence, is the fact that you're not giving up on yourself. You know, situations where we're quote unquote being attacked like that, if we're walk far away from we should be or what's best for our alignment. Again, like we got a protective bubble around our soul purpose, like, and again, we're feeling great and it's all love and everything on point when we again align with that vibration of where we should be, until we start to like go out and into areas far out where we're able to get attacked because we're no longer in alignment with our protective bubble. If that makes sense. You know, damn, 30 reconnections just now. Real. Matter of fact, I say to the ancestors for allowing for for this transmission, allowing for this message to be shared. You know, may everybody, own best foremost. You know, because again, ain't Neo and Trinity and all that shit not gonna save nobody. Again, is I it shifts the energy. So definitely being aware of that. But yeah, that's enough spoke about to share, because although I've been in little, like I felt like a strong power up after going out in nature and connecting on that level. And again, like that's another way that those things are working, as you're doing the certain things, and then all of a sudden a strong spiritual attack come in, you know and it's like, all right, matter of fact, again, staying with the crystals. If you gotta sleep with the crystals on, again, in any way, form, or fashion, whatever it is that you could do to help, you know. But again, that, you know, tap in with the trees, tap in with the inner guidance. Know you are protected. Don't allow for it to turn into an external goose chase. You know, be aware that yes, again, things do show up in our external realm, but it starts with us being a vibrational match to that energy. You know, and having to sit there and do the work. Like, hey spirit, hey inner guidance, what am I missing? Like, why am I, continuously getting attacked? Like, what is it? It's like, cause your ass this and that. You know what I'm saying? And again, like having to become aware and keep that memory. Hence why I brought up like again that ginkgo biloba. And also, matter of fact, and too, like dealing with your herbs and stuff like that. I put crystals in my little canisters. I got some orange calcite sitting in here. Fluorite is good for memory. Pyrite good for memory. Matter of fact, hematites, especially magnetic hematites, good for memory as well. And then also rocking with I didn't bring that up earlier, Peter site and the root roxas. Root roxas is very great for healing the energy field overall in general. Like they just an overall healer from root to the crown, you know. And again, like calling upon ants a lot, and when they show up in whatever symbolic way they show up, you always seen true help come through. Like again, and you have to express that sometimes. Like we got unconditional love for all our ancestors, but definitely when we're tapping into wanting to receive solutions and answers from ancestors, we want to make sure that we tapping in like, hey, I'm only tapping in with the ancestors that are 100% truthful, the ancestors that bring forth 100% clarity, you know, uh, expressing those things and, again, just being resilient. But, oh, as I hear the squirrels outside. And the squirrels, matter of fact, represent like the cusp of Virgo and Leo energy. Being childlike, enjoying life, remembering to have fun, being lighthearted. Although, yes, we have tough spiritual attack moments, but it's like, being lighthearted is possible because being heavy about it, that doesn't mean that we try to fake like we're happy, Of course, you gotta allow for whatever energies to come up and out. You know what I'm saying? But again, uh, being aware to be as lighthearted as possible and have fun with it because you are your first best friend, first and foremost. The bees represent being tapped into royalty. They also represent like having structure with flexibility because they live in the hexagon, and the hexagon in essence represents one of the energies it represents. I think of aquamarine. I think about all the barrels. Speaking of Morganite earlier, the barrel family, where it allows for, because aquamarine like that, it allows for structure to be present while still being flexible. So you're kind of again like finishing things off, finishing what you started, but with a little flexibility. You're not like rigidly like like a pyrite or hematite. Not to say that pyrite or hematite make it rigid per se, but like it definitely has like a strong like focus type of energy compared to fluorite or aquamarine that's like focus with flexibility, a little more flexible. Let's just say it like that. We ain't gonna say that pyrite and hematite makes it to where you can't be flexible, but there's more flexibility with the hexagonal energy. And again, bees also tap in with the again like making sure you're being organized, finishing projects. Is also again letting you know you tapped into your yeah, again like just our main to kind of like what used to think, you know, energy. So it could represent love, sexual energy, fertility, you know, literally also like whatever animal does. Like, all right, this animal hops, so maybe it's about me hopping or leaping into something, because matter of fact, it connected with spring, and spring is like springing into action, or, a rabbit seemed like it got like a frog, it's like springing or jumping. So, uh, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. For any and all videos, if you're vibing with it, like and share, making sure these videos get seen. What else? Any and all donations. If you look at any jewelry pieces, you have to connect with me through Instagram. Even if you just gotta stick and move and create an Instagram just to message me for the jewelry. But that's the way to connect for that. Nah, it's this connection. It ain't yours. Again, be present, right? Tapping in with the ancestors, tapping in with the trees, earthing and grounding, you know, because again, those messages come in stronger without having to, read a book, watch video. It doesn't mean that we stop reading or stop watching videos, again, that all be in alignment for what's best for you in your now moment, without comparing to somebody else, again, because my messages and my videos is not for you to be or do exactly what I'm expressing in this moment. Take what resonate, leave what don't. But again, definitely through my own experiences lately, and that's why I'm sharing, is like, that strong energy of, feeling that ancestor connection, feeling that help, from the ancestors. But again, definitely with the grounding and earthing in connection with the trees. Because that also, again, with the grounding, that's how a lot of negative energy, leave the body. Negative energy, not good or bad, it just is what it is. My Instagram, I'm not able to type. Let me see if I could write it. But, and then before I leave, to everybody, man, stay again like heart chakra, self